Alright the squad, sticking with the series of the 2010 TNA WWE Monday Night War. This is the show which compares the two after the war ended. I don't personally believe TNA was even that bad, but everybody dumped on it. So this is the way for us to truly find out who had the better show in 2010. I'd love you to let me know who you thought won for the week, and I'm giving you the ability to speak. This is TNA from the 10th of June and Raw from the 14th of June. Let's start with Raw. With a huge ending to Raw with the debut of the Nexus, Raw will be an interesting watch this week. Maybe they're going to hold a funeral for John Cena's career, or maybe Heath Slater will piss all over a Cena cutout. No. Instead, Wade Barrett cuts a promo saying he's been forced to apologise for last week. He calls the other guys to the ring. Cole and King are too scared to do commentary and they leave. Wade Barrett asks each guy to apologise. They all get to cut a quick promo and each man refuses to apologise. Michael Tarver actually sounds the best, which surprised me. Barrett said the reason they did what they did was because they were treated like animals on NXT, forced to change in a broom cupboard and made to compete in dumb challenges. Where the hell is Daniel Bryan? He was definitely part of the attack last week. Wade Barrett's promo is interrupted by the Hitman. Brett runs down everything that the NXT guys did. Barrett addresses Daniel Bryan now and says that he's not here anymore because he showed remorse. Well, I don't remember him showing any remorse. He was the most aggressive guy after Barrett. Well, as it turns out, Daniel Bryan was fired following the attack the previous week. He wasn't actually supposed to choke Justin Roberts or spit all over John Cena. Silly politics, he made the angle look better and more serious. At the time, WWE were obsessed with their PG rating and had a strict no choking rule. We don't have that around the Hawks house, that's for sure. Barrett says he's got a contract because he won NXT. Otunga takes the mic and says none of the other guys do have contracts, but they all want them. Barrett says these men are the future of the company. Well, looking around the ring, he was incredibly wrong about that. Brett refuses to give them contracts. In fact, he says Wade Barrett can forget his rising star treatment and he fires him. He wants them to leave the ring or else he'll get the police. They say they're not leaving, but when we return from an advert break, they're gone. The opening match is a fatal 4-way for the US title. R-Truth is the champion. He takes on John Morrison, Zack Ryder and The Miz. These four guys all had a tag match last week. Morrison and Truth clear the ring. The two friends fight now, with Truth almost winning off a nice pin. Morrison almost rolls up Ryder, with Truth just watching on like a dumbass. Seconds later, Ryder misses a dive out of the ring and The Miz hits a kick. But we ain't done though, because Morrison hits a crazy sunset flip powerbomb out of the ring. Wasn't expecting that on a TV match. Morrison almost beats Miz off a kick. Not sure how the guy's still alive. John Morrison attempts a superplex on Ryder now, but the Truth rushes over to do a tower spot. Lots of pinfalls are traded now, it's a lot of fun. Truth hits a front suplex on Morrison and a scissors kick on Ryder, with The Miz making the save. The Miz baseball slides Morrison, but he wastes valuable time working his rotator cuff out. I thought he was going to miss his clothesline, but he doesn't. Truth now hits the lie detector on Ryder, and again the pin is broken up. Morrison misses a springboard kick, allowing the Truth to hit a suplex stunner. It's all going the Truth's way, when out of nowhere Zack Ryder hits the Rough Rider. Morrison rushes to make the save. He sort of hits the Starship Pain on Truth, but he can't get the win because The Miz gets rid of him and pins Truth. We got a new US champion. Wow, excellent start to Raw this week. I can't see TNA being able to top that, but let's give them a chance. TNA starts with hype for the upcoming Slammiversary pay-per-view. TNA was notorious for not hyping its pay-per-views very well, so this was a good start. The first man out is AJ Styles with Desmond Wolfe, Kazarian and Beer Money. He cuts a promo moaning about Bischoff and Hogan putting them in an 8-man tag tonight, but there's 5 of them. This goes on for ages. We get it, AJ, there's 5 of you, not 4. He drones on and on about the 4 horsemen. Randomly, AJ flips and tells Kazarian to get lost. They start bickering until Ric Flair's music hits. But it's not Flair, it's the Nature Boy, Jay Lethal. So this would go on to be the first and lesser famous of the 2 impersonations which Lethal did on Ric Flair. Lethal basically questions AJ Styles' credentials as a leader. He gets distracted and elbow drops his own jacket. Lethal apparently specialises in big men and introduces his team for the night. It's Abyss, who's doing an uncomfortable storyline that he's won Desmond Wolfe's girlfriend Chelsea and he's doing stuff to her. The next man on the team is Mr. Anderson. For some reason, Lethal doesn't want another partner, he thinks Abyss counts as 2 men. Lethal flies into the ring and a big brawl takes place. The heels win because it's 5-on-3 no matter what Jay Lethal thinks. Jeff Hardy makes the save because he loves Mr. Anderson or something. He shoves Desmond Wolfe over like he's a stoner friend when he runs out of gear. Fun opening segment. We go from that to Brian Kendrick talking some absolute nonsense. He says his dad was a paranoid schizophrenic. How high is everyone on this show? He wants to capture the X Division title, and he's having a match next. It's Brian Kendrick taking on Homicide. He actually gets a short promo where he says he's crazier than Brian Kendrick. Before any match can take place, the X Division champion Douglas Williams heads to the commentary desk. The match starts. Homicide keeps smacking him one, with Kendrick getting up time and time again. Homicide tries to hit an early gringo killer, which is reversed. Homicide instead hits a T-bone suplex for a 2. He keeps going with a corner face wash and almost a Shining Wizard. It's a very one-sided match. The Michinoku gets him another 2. Kendrick suddenly smacks him in the back of the head. It's all for nothing as Homicide throws him into the corner. The ginger referee stops the wrist take choking. Kendrick then sends Homicide out of the ring with an enziguri. He drives Homicide's head into the ramp over and over again. For some reason, the referee refuses to do a 10 count. Homicide snaps and finds a toolbox under the ring and grabs a hammer and a screwdriver. The ref stops it and Homicide turns around into a kick to the head, which is just the end of the match. Douglas Williams will face Kendrick on pay-per-view, and he doesn't care how crazy he is. Time to check out Raw again. Back on Raw, Randy Orton cuts a promo saying that he respects what the NXT group did, but at the same time he thinks they're a group of punks who should have their heads kicked in. Oh no, here we go again with the guest host crap. This week it's some act called Mark Someone. Ted DiBiase wants to be co-guest host and offers to buy the actor a car. The actor refuses to be bribed and says he isn't scared. He starts dancing and mocking DiBiase. He threatens to beat up the actor, but the Big Show is here to have his back. Big Show proposes that the 4 of them should have a tag team match tonight. Oh wow, can't wait for that one. These two look like a lovely couple. Cena is stomping around miserably backstage. Chris Jericho will now have a match against rising star Evan Bourne. Evan starts for Hurricanrana and a drop toe hold into a drop kick for a 2. Jericho shuts him down with a nice back suplex. Bourne manages to reverse the walls of Jericho and gets some close falls. Chris Jericho hits the code breaker, which to his shock is just a 2 count. This makes Chris Jericho snap and he won't stop stomping on Evan. The ref just DQs Jericho. Evan kicks him and hits the airborne. I think Evan just needs some high profile wins here. Back to TNA we go. Back on TNA, the Dudleys and the men with mohawks are being separated. Now the mohawks are in the ring. Jesse Neal calls out Bubba Ray. The story here is that the Dudley boys trained Jesse Neal, but Bubba eventually started thinking Neal was a disrespectful prick. Jesse asks why the Dudley boys attacked them last week and laid playing cards on top of them. Bubba denies it. No, it's not the aces and eights, we're still a few years off of that at this time. Bubba wants Jesse to know that he's the toughest guy in wrestling. He calls Jesse Neal an absolute nobody and a Navy failure. He will make Jesse Neal a complete failure at the pay-per-view. Man, Bubba was great when he was just being a prick heel. He calls Jeff Hardy's stoner friend a little bitch. The friend responds calling him the biggest douchebag on the planet. The fans cheer Devon to see what he's going to do. He actually refuses to do anything because he likes all of these guys and he walks out. Bubba attacks Jesse and comically scrambles away. It was a fun exchange. In the back, the leader of the Grey Crew meets with Matt Boring. Matt is looking for a new partner because he keeps beating up his own partners. Bischoff says he will have a rematch for the tag titles next with a mystery tag team partner. Now we have a crying video package from a wild Slapnuts appears.
Jeff Jarrett.
He got beaten up badly by Sting, who has turned evil. He swears revenge, but he can't actually do anything because his arm is strapped up. Matt Boring eagerly awaits to find out who his new partner is. First, the immortal Hulkster blesses us with an appearance. He calls Morgan the biggest crybaby in wrestling. He says he's not going to be able to hurt his new partner. Morgan is horrified to learn that his new partner is the returning Hernandez, who Morgan kicked in the head against a pole to write him off telly. Hernandez flies into the ring with a headbutt to the ballsack. So I guess this isn't going to be a tag match, it's Morgan versus Hernandez. Supermex pounces Morgan in the ring. Now he hits a big chokeslam. Hernandez does slow down eventually and starts gorming out of the camera. He takes a walk up the ramp as Hogan reveals that these two will now be having a pay-per-view match. Oh, I guess this isn't an actual match in the first place. Morgan has to be placed on a stretcher from the beating. Then the Wolfpack music hits and they put Morgan back down. They are the tag team champions for some reason. We're then informed that this is going to be a match. I guess Hogan was just screwing with Matt Morgan. Eric Young just simply covers him for the free. I hate how they did this. He didn't even try to make it funny. You know, if Hall or Nash had made that pin cover, they would have done something entertaining. In the back, Christy Hemme has TNA champion No Job Rob. He's facing Sting on the pay-per-view. He says tonight he'll show him why he's the champion, but Sting just jumps him from behind. Sting completely destroys him and walks off with his title belt. When Rob wakes up, he's livid that Sting took his belt. Over to Raw. Wiener is here and all the little kids go mental. Cena was stretching off telly last week, but he doesn't seem to be bearing any ill effects. Cena has been given the night off tonight, but he refuses because he wants to talk about last week. Like Orton said earlier, Cena says he understands the NXT guys' actions. Cena wants to fight them again and he promises he won't press any charges. The NXT guys start coming towards the ring, and this time the WWE roster come to Cena's aid. A huge brawl takes place with the audience at fever pitch, and it's not just the jobbers. The WWE roster easily clear the ring and the NXT guys dump in their nappy of fear and run away. The camera heads backstage where comically a chase scene is happening and Mark Henry doesn't realise that some of the NXT guys are just running along next to him. Another fun time on Raw. Can TNA be as fun? Up next in TNA, we've got another return. This time it's Perk Angle. He's been off TV for a while after finishing his incredible feud with Mr. Anderson, and now he wants to work his way through the TNA roster, starting at the bottom to earn a title shot. Angle hypes up his pay-per-view match against Kazarian. To help him prepare for the match, he's going to face the greatest X Division wrestler of all time. A moron shouts out that it's Hernandez, but no, it's the amazing Red. Pretty cool matchup to have. Red quickly arm drags him and head scissors him. Kurt looks impressed by that. Angle eventually stops him with an overhead belly to belly. Red still has something in the tank though, and he sends Kurt out of the ring. He misses his dive, but lands a second dive into a hurricanrana. Red sends him back into the ring but misses his springboard, and watch this Angle clothesline. He pwned that noob. Can't believe I just said that. I think Angle needs to smack me one. Red counters a slam with DDT. Moments later, Red hits another one of the springboard variety. Angle isn't hurt and he Germans him. Red still manages to get out of the Angle slam. He misses his kick but hits the follow-up. The amazing Red smashes Kurt's head into the mat of a hurricanrana, and then Red Star presses him for a 2. He misses his crazy dive though, and Angle just Angle slams him for the 3. Wow, so much fun. That was like a video game, but it was short. We could have really done with Angle not looking quite so weak here, but when I have that much fun watching a match, I just can't hate on it. Sting has a backstage promo about how he's going to beat Rob Van Dam on pay-per-view and show everyone who Rob truly is. He's written the word deception on the belt because that's what RVD represents. Nice creepy promo from Sting. TNA now spends 5 minutes hyping the pay-per-view. I'm in shock, they barely ever did this. Over to Raw. Back on Raw, backstage, Sheamus is explaining why he helped out earlier on. He says he's the only one who's actually allowed to hurt John Cena. Time for a standard 1-minute Divas match. Eve Torres, the Divas champion, is out. She'll be having a tag match teaming with Gail Kim. They take on Alicia Fox. This woman has changed the channel heat. She teams up with Maurice, who I'd happily watch all day, every day. Eve and Alicia have an ugly and weird exchange on the apron. Maurice hits a kick for a 2. Now they hit, I guess, a double team stroke on Eve. Alicia randomly hits a Northern Light suplex as well. They try another double team, but Alicia kicks Maurice by mistake. Eve Torres hits an ugly slow motion neckbreaker for the 3. Gail Kim literally wasn't even tagged into this match for a second. It's not the first time that's happened on Raw either. It went 2 minutes though, so I guess it's give and take. They're going to have a 4-way match at the pay-per-view, and I have no idea why Gail is even in that match. Up next, Ted DiBiase and Virgil are humiliated in a tag match against The Big Show and the guest host. There isn't really much to say, it's mostly just The Big Show playing with Virgil. Big Show chokeslams Virgil and tags in the guest host so he can hit the worm for the 3. It doesn't look quite right, but at least it's over. DiBiase also ends his relationship with Virgil after the match, and that's not something that people will be too upset about. From comedy to more comedy, Santino Marella will have a match against William Regal with the special referee Vladimir Kozlov. Kozlov used to be of Regal, but that's over now and he's been recruited to be in a tag team with Santino. Santino keeps trying karate kicks, which doesn't help him. Regal doesn't see the funny side of this matchup. Santino then just rolls Regal up. Kozlov is supposed to fast count it, but he takes forever to get into place. Bret Hart's music hits. I'm surprised he wants to involve himself with these people. He invites the 3 wrestlers to join him on the stage because Bret has invited the entire roster out to the stage. The lower carders all join Bret on the stage. He is doing this to prevent the NXT guys from interfering in the Raw main event. Back to TNA we go. Okay, it's just the TNA main event left. It's announced as an 8-man tag. AJ Styles, Desmond Wolfe and Beer Money take on Jay Lethal, Jeff Hardy, Mr. Anderson and Abyss. Lethal is quite popular, so I guess his promo earlier did him some good. Jay Lethal hits the first big move of the match with a handspring into an elbow. Rude dumps his nappy of fear as Abyss joins the match. Beer Money almost get a double chokeslam, but they're saved by AJ. Mr. Anderson in next. He hits a double axe before bringing in his best friend Jeff Hardy. Desmond Wolfe manages to get a tag, but he doesn't do any better than Storm. Some cheating turns the match and AJ is happy to join in. Styles seems extra cocky tonight as he hits a knee drop for a 2. There isn't much happening here, the heels are just slowly working over Hardy. He reverses an Irish whip, but like a dumbass, he flies into the heel corner which doesn't help him. The match breaks down, but Hardy is still being kept at bay. Beer Money hit Hardy with a Beer Money suplex. The ref misses a tag as the match breaks down once again. Eventually Hardy hits the jawbreaker and kicks AJ Styles away. Jeff has been done in there for about 10 minutes at this point, but he finally tags Jay Lethal. He's a real hawk on fire. He throws AJ into a net breaker with Desmond Wolfe breaking up the pin and DDTing Lethal. Once again the match breaks down and everybody hits their finisher. It is carnage in there. Desmond Wolfe is the last man standing, but like a dumbass he starts yelling at Chelsea to hand him a chair. She is hesitant because I guess Abyss has charmed her. He screams, "In 3 days you're going to be mine again." He does get the chair eventually, but not in the way that he wanted it. Abyss can't win though as AJ takes him out with a springboard forearm. Lethal also flies into the ring, which is turned into a powerbomb. AJ instantly hits the Stars Clash and it's over. I'm not sure if I agree with Lethal taking the pin here. He looked like he was making some real progress on this night until that happened. Sting cuts another evil promo threatening Rob Van Dam. He then jumps RVD backstage again. It's a pretty fun brawl. I liked Sting falling into a clothing rail. This actually goes on for a while. I guess the security team went home for the night and thought the show was over. They eventually battle out to the ring. RVD starts winning in the ring and he has a chair. Sting throws him into the chair and smacks him with it for good measure. Sting stands tall with the belt and says "See you Sunday." Very nice pay-per-view hype once again. Okay, the final part of Raw is the main event tag match. The Rated R Superstar teams up with the Great White Sheamus to take on Randy Orton and John Cena. For some reason, compared to the rest of the show, this main event is lacking some energy. Orton does eventually wake them up with a cross backbreaker. Edge is greased up enough and manages to slip away from an RKO. We come back from an advert break to see Cena hitting a suplex on Edge for a 2. They choose to try and isolate Cena. These 4 will all be fighting for the title at the pay-per-view. Cena blocks Edge's suplex with one of his own, but he still can't make the tag. After a very, very long time, Cena manages to get to his feet while Sheamus continues his submission. The crowd roar with approval. But Cena still can't make it to Orton. John Cena avoids an Edge spear and finally the tag is made. Orton snap slams Sheamus and hits a draping DDT. Edge tries to break up the RKO but gets one for him instead. Sheamus immediately smashes Orton down. He hits the Irish Curse for a 2. After a while, Orton hits a clothesline and Cena desperately screams, "I'm here." Cena gets the tag and is dominating when the lights go out. In the back, the NXT guys are causing chaos again. They drag Bret Hart through the building and he looks like Gangrel for some reason. He's shoved in a limo and it's reversed away. The limo keeps on crashing into cars. The limo stops and they ask for their contracts now. He presumably said no to that, so the limo takes another big crash into a BMW. Bret is dragged out of the car. They demand to have an answer by Sunday. Bret cries on the floor and the show ends. So the Hawk will give his final thoughts in just a moment, but first, let me sum up the TNA show. So overall, this TNA show was maybe slightly better than middle of the road. There wasn't loads of entertaining segments, but quite a lot of in-ring action. I liked Kurt Angle vs Amazing Red a lot. The Dudleys and Sting did some good mic work here too. So yeah, for once, nothing to really dump on, but let me know if you want a Slammiversary review. But despite TNA doing okay, let me talk about Raw. I mean, it actually felt like an effort was made on this show throughout. Raw had felt lifeless in 2010, but this was the first show that honest to God had my attention. They found an interesting angle with the NXT invasion and it ran throughout the show, and then it ended in a big and creative way. The matches were mostly okay, and that's honestly not the story here though. As a whole package, this show was watchable and it felt like a buzz is starting to build. I believe on this week, Raw beat TNA hands down with a hot angle. They didn't really do anything massively wrong, but it was just a show that nobody's ever going to remember in the morning. Not really lots of effort or angles on the show. So WWE will take the win this week, and if you don't agree with that, I'll make your girl leak.